What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video where we're going to chill and we're going to go through the Division 2 Battle for Brooklyn DLC and Year 7 showcase, seeing what we can spot, we can freeze it, and now kind of delve deep in to the video and to see if there's any extra surprises that we might not have noticed when Yannick and Co were on the stream. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Okay, so it starts off with Yannick. Go turn up a little bit.
We have a lot in store for you today, so let's go.
Year 6 has truly become a year of transformation where we've crafted an ever-evolving experience by making modifiers a core part of our
Well, nothing new so far.
With 3 distinct seasons throughout the year, each introduced significant changes to the endgame and our seasonal model.
As we look
So again, nothing new there.
We remain dedicated to pushing the game to new heights of access.
Now, we always like to see Hunter shot, but this looks like at the top of Summit, right? So this again is nothing new so far.
New players and engagement.
That looks like... Can't think of the name now. Why can't I think of the name? Countdown. It's Countdown, isn't it? Yep, so we're on the rooms in Countdown.
With only a few
Definitely artist impressions, all the characters didn't look right.
weeks remaining until the final
Then we got the incursion
of Year 6, let's take a sneak peek at what's in store for the upcoming Year 7.
Alright, so this is starting off with Year 7 as a whole. They do mention a little bit later on that they're going to talk specifically about the DLC. So let's see what we can pick out of this.
Year 7 will focus on 3 main goals, with the constant influx of new players, improving...
There's nothing new there, using an AK, nothing looks particularly new, let's just make sure.
Streamlining the onboarding
And then this is a PTS, so these are the modifiers that we that currently have.
process for new agents is more
Oxpecker.
important than ever. We are also focused on adding more depth to the endgame.
Alright, so let's just take a little bit of note of what he just said there, which is pretty much important whether you're a new player or a starter or an older veteran player. So they're going to update the onboarding process, which to me means that they're going to try and make it a bit more easy to get people playing. Obviously, the game has come way further than what it was when we first got our first updates like Tidal Basin, World Tier 5 and things like that. And that obviously now, for us, we never see any of that anymore, but it's a bit convoluted, I guess, for newer people. So it looks like they're going to look at changing that. We've seen a change with that recently with the starter area being removed. So these plans are obviously already in effect.
Important than ever. We are also focused on adding more depth to the endgame.
The endgames, that's what we're all interested in. So what is this depth that they're going to add? Because when they talk about the DLC, that's missions, control points, stuff like that. That doesn't really ring endgame to me.
Ensuring there is always something exciting to look forward to. Year 7 will solidify seasons as a cornerstone of the Division 2 experience. Our ambition is to increase the pace and situations, allowing for more regular updates and fresh experiences.
So that just sounds like they're going to try and push more content, right? So at the moment, we have 3 seasons a year, and there's quite a bit of downtime. So like now, for instance, it's kind of leveling off at the moment. We get a big influx at the beginning of the season, and it feels like it does kind of slow down. That's the same with any kind of seasonal game. People jump in, do the content, and then disappear until a new season comes back. But it does sound like they're going to try and push more in that direction.
Of course, seasons are not the only thing you can expect. During Year 7, we want to make the open world a more dynamic part of the endgame.
Alright, so what does that mean? So at the moment, the open world, we have territory controls, which is doing now, CPs, a bunch of other activities. What would make it a more dynamic part of the endgame?
For example, we're working on introducing an entirely new wrapper to open world activities.
Alright, so that is something very interesting that I think might have passed a lot of people by. So he says they're looking at adding, why does Superman keep coming up?
New wrapper to open world activities that react to your actions while unlocking exotic blueprints farming to help you complete your arsenal.
Alright, so that's a huge bit there that's absolutely slid by. Huge.
Not the only thing you can expect. During Year 7, we want to make the open world a
more dynamic part of the endgame.
For example, we're working on introducing an entire
So a new wrapper to the open world.
New wrapper to open world activities that react to your actions.
that reacts to your actions while unlocking exotic blueprint farming.
While unlocking exotic blueprints farming to
help complete your arsenal. So that sounds like something we definitely don't have right now, and it's something that is going to be, you know, end game activity wise. That yeah, I don't think they really give us any more details at this point.
We're also focusing on the economy.
So yeah, they don't. They just kind of move on. So that's kind of a little snippet of something that's coming, not in the Brooklyn DLC by the sounds of it, but kind of, you know, further on in year 7. Then they're going to focus on the economy.
More specifically, we have a package of revamps that will add more depth to the endgame progression, giving you more control over tinkering and item custom.
All right, so yeah, so economy, that to me screams like items, materials, cost of things and stuff like that. So maybe that's being revamped. It has been a little while since we've had a cost revamp with how much things cost and things like that. So maybe they're looking at doing that. But then they go on to mention more control over your tinkering and item customization. So that could mean a variety of things. Maybe like when they added the Division 1 change where you could kind of hold an attribute and then re-roll the rest of it or something like that. When it comes to because that is what tinkering is now. So maybe something like that as Division 2 is coming towards the end half of its life, you would imagine, with Division 3 kind of on the horizon, maybe in a few years' time. That's kind of what they did with Division 1 with them changes. So maybe it's something along the lines of that. But obviously, let me know what you think in the comments down below.
We aim to make Year 7 seasons a truly holistic experience by realigning the
Love his hoodie. Guess who's got one of them?
With the narrative elements of the seasons, including the manhunt and climax.
Additionally, we want to leave room for your...
So hang on, let me just double check what he just said then. So we want to make Year 7 a truly holistic
experience by realigning the modifiers, gear and gameplay with the narrative elements of the seasons, including the manhunt and climax.
So maybe that sounds like what they tried to do with the first season that we got, and it was kind of a ranged season. It didn't kind of work out too well. This season's been far, far better. So I guess they're trying to make that gel together a bit better.
Additionally, we want to leave room for your feedback. As we run a live game, we do our best to stay attuned to your needs and remain flexible to try to align our vision with your expectations.
We'll be sharing more updates.
Expectations are always way high.
You can look forward to more news and announcements each season.
Alright, so I think that's a huge part that everyone's kind of missed and just assumed they were just talking about stuff. There's quite a lot of little tidbits of things in there that I think are coming after the DLC that could actually make quite big significant changes to either new people or especially to veterans with what they like called that end game wrapper that they're adding.
In Year 7, you can look forward to a variety of in-game events, including XP multipliers as well as seasonal projects.
Additionally, exciting new features such as weapon stats and resource boost will be introduced.
Alright, so that's interesting again. So exciting new features such as weapon stats, new weapon stats, and resource
boost will be introduced.
Year 6
not going to say it wrong, is that?
The most anticipated quality of life
this is going to be the stash, right?
The stash space increased.
In Year 7, we'll continue expanding stash space along with the Battle for Brooklyn DLC.
So it sounds like if you get Battle for Brooklyn, you're going to get more stash, which is great. I can't go wrong with that.
The DLC, today we are thrilled to bring you an in-depth look at Battle for Brooklyn. Battle for Brooklyn expands the Division franchise with a gripping new story. Whether you're a veteran eager to dive deeper into the narrative or completely new to the franchise, the DLC has...
I've got another video out with a bit of a deeper dive of a look around the map, so if you want to see that, make sure you check that video out. I will link it at the end as well.
Players can explore post-pandemic New York in the fall, navigating iconic Brooklyn neighborhoods. You can tackle the new challenges solo or in co-op, making this DLC exciting for everyone. Let's take a look at what awaits agents in Brooklyn.
That's the same as now.
Brooklyn is set in the faithfully recreated Brooklyn neighborhoods of Brooklyn Heights and Dumbo, including some familiar areas for the Division.
So that's the iconic starter area, which we're going to get to explore now.
Players, as well as
from Division 1.
Never explored in the franchise.
Main missions take place off-site to allow for a greater...
Alright, so there's some new stuff there to look at. So there's the whole map. The main missions, as what I just said, take place off-site. So they're probably customized, built areas of their own. We can see 3 there around the side, just for the subtitles just in the way. Then there's a new type of mission, these world missions here. We've got 4 of a settlement, and then obviously travel to the other places.
Bespoke story experience on your first playthrough.
And the traditional side missions are replaced by replayable missions you can access from the open world.
So that is interesting, right? So when we have a side mission in the game currently, you do it and it's gone forever. You never get to replay that. These are now new missions, as you can see here. They're called world missions. They are completely replayable.
Story experience on your first playthrough.
And the traditional side missions are replaced by replayable missions you can access from the open world.
To experience everything that Battle for Brooklyn has to offer, it will take approximately 6 to 10 hours, especially if you want to discover all the activities we have prepared for you, including 4 control points, 12 living world activities, 10 bounty locations, 8 hunter readers, and a new set of collectibles.
All right, so let's take a look at that. So we've got 4 control points in this area. I would guess 2 in each section of the map. 12 living world activities, so hostage rescue and things like that. 10 bounty locations. All right, that's kind of good. 8 new hunter riddles, which they talk about a little bit more later in the video. So we'll talk about that more in depth then. And a new collectibles around the map. So that, and they're estimating that to do all of that content kind of once, I guess, is going to take you 6 to 10 hours. The riddles might take a little bit longer. It kind of depends how difficult they are to crack, I guess.
Bounties.
We're going back to Brooklyn because sometimes you need to go back to where you started to see how far you've come. A lot's happened in Brooklyn since the prologue of Division 1. People have moved over, trying to escape the chaos of Manhattan. And they're
Lawrence Woody's fire.
Make a change. Coming to Brooklyn in the fall is absolutely significant to our story. It helps us show the passage of time and our characters and players' evolution as we approach the 1-year anniversary of activation.
To bring autumn to the Division 2, we had to investigate firstly the vegetation and the weather.
So this has been quite a big system overhaul by the looks of it. They've introduced a complete new weather system in this area only that shows us as autumn.
A mix of warm weather with golden light and of course something moodier to try to capture the autumnal contrasts. For Washington Street,
I think I like this season better than what we get now in summer for sure.
Manhattan Bridge. We wanted it to still feel familiar to the players, but also really show at a glance how time has passed and hint to what might have happened in the meantime.
The bridge is the heart of Brooklyn, and the people there have pulled talent and resources that our hostile factions would like to acquire.
The new settlement area?
Protecting the people who built the settlement. Some of the characters you'll meet at the bridge throughout the campaign are familiar faces like Theo Parnell and
we all know Theo. Kendall from the first game.
Voice, Agent Hoskins.
And Hoskins, who we've only heard about.
Division 1 to Division 2, we wanted to show that some time has passed. She's still wearing her same old ID badge, but it's now more worn and has some wear to it. And my colleague Marie's ID badge here.
I mean, the attention to detail here isn't appreciated by everybody. I saw in the live streams people didn't like that. They've obviously paid attention to detail that the time has moved on, right? The season's moved on and time has moved on. So what everybody else has with it.
Gave her a very cute bracelet that says Mom.
She has an agent watch on as well, if you notice.
4-year-old son Freddie. And throughout Brooklyn, we've hidden all these character backstories in their character designs.
The settlement of
so I do kind of hope that's a bit more like Division 1, because when you found the collectibles round in Division 1, it did really feel like you got a lot more of a character background. Or a kind of a theme to an actual character. I kind of like that, and that kind of got missed a little bit with Division 2.
Throughout the campaign in multiple stages, what we wanted to capture here is the feeling of community coming together, building and protecting themselves.
The new base, we've got quite a decent look at that here, and if you want to see more of this, I've got that in my other video as well.
Differently. For some areas, the people in Brooklyn have come together to protect the shoreline from the hurricane, so its impact on the city has not been the same as in Manhattan. Moreover, the community has also started cleaning up after the storm. People in Brooklyn strive to rebuild their lives. They are looking into covering their base necessities in terms of food and water. So they are using the available space inside the
There's a lot of the details in the game already, and I think we missed them a lot with the day-to-day play of it because we've been there so often.
That they are usually used to, but they have been fighting already, and that's the cleaners. But there's a special twist on those cleaners because they actually.
So we do get our first peek here that he has smart cover. Here on the skill bar. Now what he's talking about here though is that the cleaners have the purple flame.
A new weapon, which is what we call the purple flame. People might be familiar with the idea of the purple flame.
We kind of caught it there very quickly, and I'm going to kind of go here. Watch the bar when he gets hit by the purple flame. I'm hoping it shows it a bit better in a little bit.
The purple flame. People might be familiar with the idea.
it kind of flashed on and off though. Let's see if we can find a better... Oh, and it was there again for just a second. See if we can get that right frame. There. So you can see there that if he'd not used a med kit, the armor's only going to be able to build up to that where that purple bar is. So a bit like the directive that we have now at the moment. But when he used a med kit, it obviously cleared it off.
With the idea of the purple flame, those who have played the incursion, the mirror estate, they might have seen that already. This is something we introduced back then. But in this DLC, in Battle for Brooklyn, the cleaners have been able to find ways to mass produce this weapon. And this is really their main way of...
So there you can see it again, the corrosive section of his armor bar has been taken up by it.
Bringing destruction.
I don't know why Superman keeps showing up in the corner. Wow.
Using that new weapon to really try to erase Brooklyn from the map. So there's
a couple of things we can take note here. So you can see the new kind of, they called them ingredients at the CPs. Depending on the difficulty that you're playing on, you're going to get these new ingredients, and that's going to be, technically it's just added extra things to a CP to make it a bit more difficult.
Now using that new weapon to really try to erase Brooklyn.
And you can kind of see here, it looks like there's some kind of control wire there. Those flames on the floor.
So as an agent, you have to go there, not just...
Yeah, you get a better look of it there.
Face the cleaners as you know them, but face the cleaners with that extra level.
Ah, okay, so that was interesting there, right? So they used the...
As an agent, you have
the med kit, and it didn't clear the purple. So look, he's using the med kit there, and it didn't clear any of it away. So maybe it's not as easy as just clearing the it off with a med kit. Like the directive.
Basically, is there is a new effect that is added to the usual fire effect you would get from the cleaners. Every time you face a cleaner that uses purple flame, you're not only going to be set on fire, but we're also adding a corrosion effect.
That's the corrosion effect.
This corrosion, what it does is it's basically reducing your max armor.
Yep.
So the longer you engage in a fight against cleaners with purple flame, the lower your armor gets. And even if you use armor kits, even if you try to heal, you're only going to be able to go as high as what your new max
okay, so it's like that only disappears once you finish the combat section.
That maximum keeps decreasing the longer you fight them.
Honestly as well, I've seen a lot of people raging about these levels here, saying 45 or 49 and 50. It's SHD level. There is no level cap raise in the DLC.
And of course, this is part of our story. This is part of why the cleaners are coming to Brooklyn, or why you
it's a new area
of them, because it's an unusual threat. It's something that even the civilians in Brooklyn are not used to. We're going to have to find out how did they produce it, where are they producing it, and how did they get all the supplies they need to actually be able to mass produce this new weapon.
No division story would be complete without the hunters.
In Brooklyn,
we have 8 new riddles and 8 masks that you can unlock, if you're willing to take on the challenge.
For the Brooklyn Hunter.
Alright, so this looks pretty sick, right? These is not just, I mean, look at the watches for a start. The mask looks like something from Friday the 13th, but the whole costume is crazy.
We wanted the uniforms to actually match the mask designs a bit more than they usually do.
I mean, look at that one.
And that will also echo into the game design of the puzzles that unlocks them. We wanted to create a cohesive theme.
So does that unlock just the mask, or does it unlock the full uniform, I wonder? I think it's just the mask. I'm not sure if that was hinting at the full uniform or not.
The amazing classic hunter look.
Control points are a big part of the open world. With Brooklyn, we've taken them one step further. Based on faction ownership, players can expect a different challenge every time they encounter the same control points. Each hostile faction has its own unique ingredients.
So he did mention each hostile faction, which kind of leads us to say that there's not just going to be cleaners on the map.
Cleaners have the purple flame, while the Rikers also have some...
So cleaners and Rikers.
Up their sleeve. Players can expect to encounter those new ingredients in every control point in Brooklyn. For players wanting a bigger challenge, increasing the global difficulty will also have an impact on the amount of ingredients that they encounter in the control points.
We've got the correct words there now, so it's called ingredients. We've learned a few things today. Ingredients, map wrapper.
Smart cover returns in Battle for Brooklyn as a reimagined skill for PvE.
Alright, so smart cover is back.
Using the smart cover will
it looks like it just like it does in Division 1
and enhance pulse resistance for all allies.
Players can choose between 2 variants, the precision smart.
Alright, so let's pause that there. So there is a couple of things I need to tell you about this. I'm going to do a bit more of a deep dive. So in Division 1, when you used smart cover. When you came out of it, you got about 2 or 3 seconds of the buff staying active. Division 2, this is different. The minute you come out of cover, you lose the buff instantly. So it's not going to be exactly the same as Division 1's. But there are some really neat things about it that might be interesting. So if you read the beginning bit here, it says reinforcing nearby covers and granting enhanced weapon handling, damage, and automatic reload on swapping your weapons to all agents using it. So essentially, you got 2 weapons, you swap weapons, you will never need to reload, which is interesting. So then we've got this one here, which is the damage one. You can see you got a radius buff, a weapon handling buff, damage to targets out of cover buff, and at tier 1, it's 10%. It goes up 10% every tier. As of now, whether that's subject to change or not, I don't know. And then we've got health at 70%.
Smart cover and the fortified smart cover. Both variants have some stats.
So that's something I don't think they show, but obviously you've got a little bit of inside info there. Then for fortified, you've got radius, you've got bonus armor at 10%, explosive resistance at 10%, pulse resistance at 10%, and health at 70%. I think the bonus armor also went up to 50% as well.
That's tuned differently for PvP.
In the DLC,
And he says it's tuned differently for PvP, which we didn't get the stats for.
we have a new exotic mask called the Catalyst. And it's actually perfect against the cleaners, as it gives bonus for dealing and receiving status effect damage. So,
Alright, so this is what's interesting here. So the cleaners are going to be the main enemy with the purple flame in this, and they've literally given us a mask that helps damage them specifically for this area. So I guess when they said before that the seasons and items they're going to have are going to lean into the season type, this is what they meant. So as you can see here, you can see a dealing and receiving status effects, burn, bleed, shock, EMP disrupt, poison, and blind and disorient build stacks of catalyst to a maximum of 12. Each stack grants 2% weapon damage or 2% status effects, which is pretty wild. Each enemy within 25 meters that is affected by a status effect grants 1 stack per second. Being affected by a status effect, so you're thinking the new purple flame, right? Grants 2 stacks a second. Stacks decay at 1 stack a second after 5 seconds if no enemies are in the radius, or you're not affected by a status effect at that point. So that's pretty crazy right off the rip, because you just think, if it works with the new cleaner flame, that's always on you while you're in combat, meaning you're going to be constantly gaining the stacks, making it probably really easy to max this thing out. And then it looks like there's a bonus here as well. At max stacks, killing a status affected enemy grants bonuses for 5 seconds. There's 25% bonus armor and 20% reload speed. There was something underneath called stabilizer, but we didn't get to see what that was.
The effect for the Catalyst, we wanted to invoke the feeling of a dying fire. So when you move, the air stokes the fires, causing the mass to flare up more and
That's
more
cool.
as you go. But when you stop, the fire slowly dies and only smoke remains.
Battle for Brooklyn launches on May 27th, 2020.
So we got the release date, May
The DLC
27th,
will be
which is
available
kind of what we
on PC,
expected anyway, I think.
And PlayStation. For those of you who already own the Division 2, Battle for Brooklyn will be available as a standalone product for €14.99.
I guess it's £15 as well. So they mentioned euros and dollars.
Available including exclusive cosmetics.
And 25 for the enhanced
and wish list
edition.
the DLC.
So it's
If
essentially
your
with the
friends who don't own the
cosmetics.
game yet, let them know that the DLC will also be available for new players in our new Gold Edition and Ultimate Edition, giving them immediate access to the main game, Warlords of New York expansion, and the Battle for Brooklyn DLC in May. No matter through which edition you decide to get the DLC, it comes with a level 40 boost.
That's interesting, a level 40 boost, right? We have a level 30 boost right now, and we level our characters from 30 to 40 to abuse our watch. So that's a level 40 boost coming with this. Definitely interesting to think about.
Allowing you to jump right into the Battle for Brooklyn campaign, and 50 stash space slots.
50
also
stash,
accessible
let's
in the main game.
go!
Working on the Division 2 DLC was an exciting challenge for us.
We're thrilled to be bringing players back to New York, and we can't wait for you to play the Battle for Brooklyn DLC.
Thank you for watching. Now, let's go where it all began. And don't forget to mark your calendars. The rendezvous is planned for May 27th. See you in Brooklyn, agents.
Yes, sir. And that is it. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. 15 quid, $15, 15 euros. Do you think it's worth it? Definitely interested what you think down below in the comments, as always. I'm about to go live on Twitch. If you need some drops, come and check me out. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, agents. Goodbye.